Hello, this is Gene. I want to talk about what happened last night in Manchester, England. As you know, I'm a supporter of Manchester United. I've been to Manchester a couple times in my life. Now, obviously, when I went to Manchester those years ago, it wasn't as culturally enriched as it is right now. And I don't say that just to be, I don't know, racist, but it clearly is a different type of place now. There are areas in Manchester or any of the bigger cities in Europe and England especially that have areas that are walled off with Muslims. And I would almost assume that the person that did what he did last night is from one of those areas. And I'm sure there were people that knew that they were doing things like this and didn't report them. Because some of the sentiments in the Muslim community is they don't really care if Western civilization or people from the West can be involved in any type of terrorist activity. The hundreds of studies on this clearly shows this. About 50% of all the people that live in England that are Muslim believe in Sharia law. So that is a problem right there, because if you believe in Sharia law, that basically means you have to do anything that Allah says you need to do, and Allah wanted to get rid of the West. So this is nothing new. But why I waited a while before doing this, because I saw a lot of guys that have huge YouTube channels, guys that usually comment on shit like this. Like Stephen Molyneux and Stephen Crowder. The one thing I'll say about Stephen Crowder, he said something today that really hit home with me, that we need to vet anybody that the political Islam sect of Islam. And what I mean by that, and I'll put his little video below, he talks about it should be, if you believe in Sharia law, you should not be. You're not invited to the West. If you don't believe that there's anything as due process, you shouldn't be allowed to be invited to the West. If it's okay that a woman gets stoned because someone said that she looked at a man or something, or if she can't drive or something like that, you shouldn't be invited to the West. We continually have to sit there and say it's not all Muslims, but the problem is almost all the Muslims live together. And this diversity that we always hear about us, there is no such thing as diversity. People live with people that either look like them or have the same type of culture that they have. This is the human experience. So I don't know at this point what you do, but what really got me upset, first of all, as I said, I'm a Manchester United supporter. I've been that way for probably 35 years now. And the coach came out this morning and, basically the same thing that everybody else was saying, thoughts and prayers. But he said things that other people have been saying, the tragic event. And I'm like, tragic event. Well, it was tragic. But was it an event, or was it an attack against Western civilization? And more specifically to the innocence of Western civilization. Now, of course, you get online, if something like this happens, still the white man gets blamed for it. It's like, one guy actually said, hey, this is just getting a feeling what Muslim countries are having to go through because of colonialism or anything like that. And of course, okay, that's a nice fair point there. That's not really relevant to the situation. But it seems like this was everybody was saying. Of course, everybody has said this about everybody says the same shit after something like this, and we're going to be together, and this will not divide us, and we have to be tolerant, and it's not all Muslims, and all that other bullshit. But nobody wants to say exactly what it was. This was not a tragic event. This was an attack on the West. And I'm still waiting for the men in the West to stand up. I thought, okay, after what happened in Berlin and Copenhagen and Cologne, all the rapes that were going on, that the men would start standing up. It didn't really happen. Rotherham, we found out that 15 girls and or boys were being raped by Palestinians. Nothing really happened. You would have thought that if you really cared, or if you had even cared about the future of your people, that you would have been marching down to London and just saying, we're going to change this shit. Yeah, okay, you had Brexit, but what? You were so worried that somebody might call you racist because you found this shit out? And it's happened all over in Europe, and it's also happening here in the United States, because they still believe that it's not going to really affect them till it actually happens to them personally. You know, they'll sit there and say, you have one chance out of being involved in a terrorist act, be like being hit by lightning. But I don't tell my kids to go out when it looks like it's going to be lightning outside, because people do die around me every year from being hit by lightning. I don't tell them to go out there and run around in the rain. That's just, it's just this false coincidence that we have about this. And I just don't understand. First of all, just a few things for me to say. Manchester City actually came out of something fairly early about this. Of course, he didn't say it was terrorist activity or anything like that, but they were there and they came out. It took a long time for Manchester United to come out, and I'm kind of upset with that. And it seems like most of the players were allowed to say anything to anything this morning, and I guess they probably had a coordinated effort to say what they wanted to say, and almost all of them said the same shit. So it's so strange that we sit there, we watch celebrities have all these opinions about politics or something like that, but when they have an opportunity to actually say what they need to say, but they're worried that, you know, of course, there are a couple Muslims that play for Manchester United, and maybe they'll be offended if we say, hey, this is a Muslim issue, it needs to be taken care of. You know, I don't really care that they would be upset about it. They play sport, for fuck's sake. They're playing a European final on Wednesday, tomorrow. It's supposed to be a big thing for us, but it doesn't mean shit to the rest of the world. What really matters is this country, is Europe going to be what it used to be, or is it going to be a caliphate, Islamic state that's going to be ruled by the Quran instead of laws? If that's what you want to have happening, that's fine. But let me give you my little thoughts about why this has happened. And clearly it's why. When I talk about why men are not standing up. Now, there are some, but most of the people that are calling for help are young women, good-looking women, white women, saying that we need to do something, and still men are not really responding to that. When through millennia we always have. We've always tried to protect and provide for our kids and our wives, but we've been programmed for so many ways to shame us, to saying it's our fault. And so at some point, when you shame somebody for so long, whole culture for so long, for white men for so long, at some point men just say, fuck it, I'll just go to my little cave and I won't come out. You deal with it yourself. That's why we have movements like MGTOW. That's why you'll hear people say things about people are being misandrics. Now, I've said many things on this YouTube channel, and I said that women are clearly the most privileged entity in the world right now, especially in the West. Obviously, in Islamic countries, not so much, but in the West, what I'm familiar with. And finally, these women are coming out saying, oh my God, we still need men to do what men do, and what men have always done is try to stop hordes like Islam to come through Europe. And those men don't have the bottle anymore, and they don't have the need to do it anymore. They go online and they go to porn, because if women are going to look at them that way, if the media just says so many bad shit about them, men will figure out there are other ways to get what they need. Men do need companionship, but at the same time, they don't really do. Men don't necessarily need it. So when you keep doing this, and I've always thinking over years, I don't want to be paranoid, but almost like it's a coordinated attack from the left or Marxists, and the fact that they went ahead, opened arms to Islam in the West, it shows that it's all part of it. And so all these great women are out there doing shit, trying to do stuff, women that you would think that would rise our instincts, but so many men are cut so much that they defend Islam all the time. Maybe because they have a friend who's Muslim, they think that that one Muslim is the entire Muslim in the world. But again, you have to ask yourself, are they working? Are they living right next to you? Or are they living in those enclaves all over Europe? And do they know family members that are doing stuff that they shouldn't do? Do they go to their little temples or mosques and hear the same imams saying the shit over and over again about the West being the infidels, even though they're taking our money from us and laughing in our face and impregnating our women and just laughing at us? And we sit there and just, we don't care. We don't care. And if you say anything and it offends them, you might go to jail for it. So you have men who might want to stand up. In Europe, it's almost very hard to say anything, because if you do that, you go to jail. Someone like Tommy Robinson will go to jail for saying something about Muslims need to be vetted before they come in the country. Or if you're in Australia, you got the guy from, I think his name is Brent, who is going to jail for saying something about Muslims. The whole system's against it. And so, again, guys will just go to the little cave and just say, okay, I'm going to do this. Even though all the instinct is to do what they're supposed to do, but they've been shamed and downtrodden for so long that guys just are not what we are. And all the studies are there. Our testosterone is going down. Everything that's going down that would probably make us stand up and say we're going to fight this and stop it from happening, it's all being coordinated for it to do it. So, yeah, I know I'm rambling here, but the point is simply this. Are we ever going to wake up? How many young kids is it going to take for us to wake up, or are we ever going to do it? Are we just basically saying, all right, we already know in the back of our mind that this is going to replace us, because that is what the end goal is. It always has been that way for Islam. This is not a new thing. They've been trying to take over Europe since, about 1400 years? And now they have a plan that they think will happen. This is something that they've talked about for the last 30 or 40 years. There's several videos out there of all the imams in London saying this shit in the 80s, saying that they're going to breed us out of existence. And they know once they have enough people there, they can vote out shit, and then it'll be Islam, the Quran will be covering what's going on, and people will let it happen. And yes, there's going to be a white fight, and I don't know where they're going to go. Hopefully they'll go to here and do something, and they're going to try to do it. And it's going to be the United States against everybody at that point, maybe us and Russia. They're going to try to stop this from happening, maybe Poland as well. And it will become a religious war, but it will also be I hate to say it, it's going to be, I'm not going to say a race war, because Muslims are not all black or brown or whatever. There are white people that are Muslims. So I don't know what we can do about it. And I wasn't going to talk about it, but I ended up talking about it. So again, let me know what you think below. Thank you for watching. I just don't know what to do anymore. The game tomorrow doesn't really mean shit to me anymore. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it, because it's the first European final we've had in 6 years, but it doesn't really mean anything right now. All right, you guys, have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.